You can add users to your Moodle site at any time. So for instance, if a student has added your course, but it's going to be a few days before it works its way through the registrar's office, you can add them manually yourself. Perhaps you'd like to add a PLA to your course site, or maybe you want to add another instructor so that they have access to your course materials. Any of these things take place inside the users area of your course administration block. If you're using another type of theme in Moodle for your course site, you may instead have course administration as a gear up here in the upper corner. I'm going to start by clicking on users, and then I'm going to click on enrolled users. Here I simply click enroll user. It's 3 clicks to get to this, but it's not that big of a deal. If you want to add a student, leave this role as student. If you want to add a PLA, you can change that to PLA. PLAs can edit your site, but they can't access your gradebook or grading tools. If you need to add someone with full teacher editing rights, you'll come here to teacher. I'm going to go back to student. You click on the arrow here to, first you enter in the name here under the search. So I'm going to type in one person's name, Eric Remy's name, and then you select them. And once they've been selected, they appear up here. And then I could continue to move on to another person and continue. Now, an important thing to note about student names, Moodle uses what are called students' preferred name, which means inside of PeopleSoft, students have completed a section where they can enter what their preferred first name is. Moodle does not take in their actual first name, it takes in their preferred first name, which means you may be looking at your Faculty Center roster and see a student whose name is Jonathan Q. Doe, but the student who's emailed you says, hey, I need to be added to this course site. My name is Quentin Doe. And so you go into Moodle, and if you checked your roster and typed in Jonathan Doe, they're not going to appear. If you went by the email from someone called Quentin Doe and typed in Quentin, they would show up if that student had used Quentin Doe as their preferred first name inside of Faculty Center. Long story short, do the search by last name, and if you're not 100% positive if you have the right student or not, compare the email addresses because those are unique. Once you've entered in, and I would say probably you only want to do like 4 or 5 of these at a time, then you'll click Enroll Users. Now, in reality, most of the time you're only adding one person at a time, but but should you have some other type of course site that you've created where you're manually adding in a lot of students, you'll only want to add 4 or 5 at a time just to make sure it all processes correctly before you move on, because otherwise it can be kind of a tedious process. Once you've added in someone, if you want to change their role, so for instance, this person is in as a student, but maybe I want them to actually have editing access. You'll click on the pencil, or it is sometimes a gear in some themes, and you will do a search for the proper role, although in reality we have so few that you can click the down arrow and choose. Now this person has both the role of teacher and student, so I'm going to remove, by clicking the X, the student. And last but not least, click the little disk to save. So it's not an incredibly straightforward process to change the role, but you can change the role. That is how you handle adding people and changing the roles in Moodle.